A very warm welcome to our viewers here in Nigeria and around the world. I am Bosin Amafoye and this is your Rice Exchange. Markets are closed across several economies today in observance of the International Labour Day. In the meantime, the World Bank has unveiled a new methodology and improved safeguards for assessing the business climate in up to 180 countries after the embarrassing revelations of data irregularities and favoritism toward China forced the World Bank to cancel its flagship rankings 2 years ago. Today, the World Bank Group published two key documents. First, the Business Ready Manual and Guide, specifying the detailed protocols and safeguards it has put in place to ensure the integrity of the assessments. The second document was the Business Ready Methodology Handbook, detailing the project's indicators and scoring methodology. Now, the African Development Bank, or the AFDB Group, has signed a $525,000 grant agreement with Africa Fintech Network for the setup of the Africa Fintech Hub, an online portal that will serve as a one-stop shop for all fintech activities in Africa. The AFDB says its contribution, both in funding and technical side, will contribute to strengthen the fintech ecosystem on the continent and boost Africa's competitiveness in the digital world. Now let's get more on this latest development and the wider fintech space as we bring on Dr. Segun Aina, who is the president of Africa Fintech Network. Dr. Aina is also the founder of Fintech Association of Nigeria. Good evening to you, sir. It's a holiday Monday, so we appreciate you making the time live here on our Rice Exchange.
Good day to you, Bosin. How are you?
Thank you so much. It's good to have you on the show. Now, let's start with the deal with the AFDB. What are the details of this financial and technical support that the African Development Program is providing you and the Africa Fintech Network?
Yes, we are very excited at the African Fintech Network of the support that we, have received from the African Development Bank, which is a project we have been working with African Development Bank for the past 2 years. The African Development Bank has a very rigorous process for processing proposals like this, and it is aimed at being, a one-stop shop for everything and every activity that relates to fintech in the continent of Africa. It is supposed to help all the stakeholders, the fintech operators, the regulators, the governments, and the public that uses fintech in Africa to provide attention to what is going on in Africa. As you very well know, the last 5 years there has been a boom in the fintech space in Africa that has led to not less than 6 fintech unicorns. Those are, fintech companies that are valued over $1 billion, and we haven't seen nothing yet because a lot still need to be done. But to be able to ensure that we move at the space that we need to move, we need to provide that platform such that we'll be able to have a database of fintech players in the entire Africa, a database of the fintech associations that we have in the various countries of Africa, such that investors, researchers, people that need to have information about what is going on in fintech will be able to have that. Either though, there is no one-stop shop like that. People that need to know things about fintech have to go through some form of tortuous effort to be able to find out information, to find out fintech organizations that they want to invest in or fintech that they want to use. But with this mechanism that we are putting together, with the support of the African Development Bank, through the ADFI, that is the Africa Digital Financial Inclusion Special Fund that have been put together by the partners of African Development Bank, we'll be able to provide this needed resource base, this needed information base that will be the go-to platform, which is digital, that everybody can key into, access information, know what is going on, input information, exchange ideas, and that will ramp up the growth of the fintech ecosystem in the continent of Africa.
Well, you just touched about a few points, but I'm just trying to find out the funding support that the AFDB is getting. How will it be deployed in terms of how this project is scaled up across the continent? What will be the first steps moving from
yes,
now on, moving forward?
Yes, the first step will be to gather data across all the countries in Africa, the 54 countries in Africa. We're going to engage consultants, of course, through meeting the AFDB procurement guidelines. We do engage consultants that will gather data of what is going on in each of the African countries, which will be inputted into this platform. We also engage consultants that will build the system, the technology hub, the platform itself, where this data will be, will be stored. And of course, we're going to engage staff that are going to work, on the project. Included in it is also a cost for external auditors that will audit the process. So the funding is divided into 5 phases, and we're going to start with the data gathering, knowing exactly what is going on, and getting the data and inputting it. So those are the levels on which the funding will be, and the deployment will be done on stage-by-stage basis. After each step, it will be evaluated, and then we move on to the next stage. And it's supposed to be a project that will go on for the next 2 years before it is formally launched.
How big is this project in terms of its ramifications, as it were? You mentioned a bit of that earlier, but I'm looking at a project that's taken you quite some time to put in place before the AFDB to get the support. Now you've gotten some funding and technical support of the AFDB. It's going to take 2 more years to put it in place. How really huge is this in terms of what this Africa Fintech Hub will bring to the continent of Africa when we're looking at the global digital space and the competitiveness of the continent where we are right now, and how we want to move forward?
Yes, let me start from the evolution of the African Fintech network itself, which was founded in 2018, and the aim is to build, is to bring together all fintech leaders across Africa to innovate together, to advance as one. And it's clear that within the first 2 years that we started, we've been able to move to ensure that a lot of development happened. We've had then new unicorn. The first unicorn came on in 2019. After 19 years of operation, the second unicorn came up in 2020. After 4 years of operation, and the next one came up in 2022 after just 2 years of operation. So we've seen the route to unicorn being reduced because of the excitement, because of the things that African Fintech network has done. And we have now seen a situation whereby 2-3 years ago, when you look at the investment flow to Africa, it's only to 3 countries, led by Nigeria, and then Kenya and South Africa. What I've done in the AFN, we've been able to expose the potential and the opportunities that exist in various other countries. That is why today on the investment map, you see countries like Egypt, Ghana, Morocco, Uganda, Rwanda, Ethiopia coming into the investment landscape because of the exposure that institutions like African Fintech Network has given. The next stage is the stage that we are going into now, to now digitize the information database, to now provide a platform, because we have seen a lot of attractions for the fintech in Africa, investors coming in to provide the required funding. We've seen local funding also coming up in various African countries. An example is the IDICE project that was launched by the Nigerian government. It's $220 million project for Nigeria. Many other countries in Africa are doing that. So a lot more fund, a lot more interest is being generated. Again, because Africa has raw talents that need to be skilled and developed to be able to contribute to the growth and development of Africa. This platform that we are building, which will meet the need that has never existed, will further boost the growth and development of fintech. And after that, there will also be other layers that will be built into it. A number of other organizations have been asking us, after this, what next? After this, what next? Because there will be a lot of additional things that will be layered on the foundation that this project will have built, that will expose the potential of Africa, the creativity that we have in Africa, particularly African youth, and particularly female-led businesses and organizations, which have not been compared to the male-led organization, the female-led are behind, it will provide the exposure because we focus on female-led businesses to showcase the fact that, we have a lot of very fantastic and innovative ladies also that are doing a lot of fintech businesses and other innovation-focused businesses in Africa. So there'll be a lot of opportunities that will come through this one-stop shop where everybody can key into, where people that are doing this Africa can also key into, and also provide enormous opportunities for the expansion of fintech. And we see in the near future Africa fintech companies dominating the global space in terms of the opportunity that they bring. And what does that bring to Africa? It brings a lot of development. It brings a lot of growth, to many African countries and the African economy generally.
Dr. Aina, who are you working with on this particular huge project with very serious positive impact for the African continent? Aside the AFDB, who else are partnering with you to deliver this very important fintech hub for Africa?
Yes, even starting with the AFDB has aggregated funds from some of their partners, including the French agency and 3 other partners who have put the money together under what they call the Africa Digital Financial Inclusion Special Fund, which is managed by the African Development Bank. For us in African FinTech Network, we are partnering with SEFRI. SEFRI is the Center for Financial Regulation and Inclusion, a company based in Cape Town, South Africa. They are providing the technical backup to the Africa FinTech Network in executing this project. We have worked with them before in terms of providing some digital, on a digital project with organizations also like Fintechable and so on. But for this project, we are partnering primarily with SEFRI from South Africa. And of course, like I mentioned earlier on, we are going to appoint through competitive bid consultants that are going to build the system, and also people that will provide the support, in that space. So SEFRI is the principal partner that is working with us to deliver on this project.
What you pioneered
and of course, the fintech associations of various countries, because Africa Fintech Network is a membership organization made up of fintech associations of various countries, including Fintech Association of Nigeria, including Association of Fintechs in Kenya, including Rwanda Fintech Forum, Egyptian Fintech Association. These are the associations that make up the African Fintech Network. And also, of course, we also have our partners like EcoBank, partners like AFDB, Afrexim Bank, United Nations, ECA, African Union, and so on and so forth, including also foreign institutions that are partnering and supporting and providing guidance and various other support mechanisms to African Fintech Network.
When we talk about fintech in Nigeria, your name comes as the country's ambassador on the continent as a whole. Now, let me chat to you, and I want you to chat to me more like it, about one of your new initiatives, which you christened Okpolo. What is the background and what is this position to achieve aside the Africa FinTech Hub? What is this all about? Talk to me, Dr. Aina.
Oh yeah, Okpolo Global Innovation Limited is a private initiative, a social enterprise, which is a platform, for supporting the budding talents that we have in Nigeria and across Africa to acquire the necessary talents that is needed for today, for the now, and the future of work. It's also necessary for us to provide a platform that people that want to go into business, set up business of their own, become creators of labor, to also have a platform that can help them through incubation of new businesses and acceleration of existing businesses. But beyond that is the need for us to use the huge resources that we have in the university systems to be able to convert the research in the universities into innovation, to commercialize them, and also, of course, move them to creating new enterprises and products. And that is why Apollo Global Innovation, one of their initiatives is to set up innovation hubs in various universities. And this is being done with the support of Bank of Industry. As we speak, there are 7 innovation hubs in 7 of the renowned universities in Nigeria, and it's planned that in the next 4 months there will be another 5, so that by September there will be innovation hubs in 12 of Nigerian universities. And it is incredible what we have seen in the last 1 year that we started that program. A lot of the initiatives, a lot of the research projects that would have just ended up on the bookshelf of professors are now being considered to be converted to innovative products, to be converted to ideas that can be commercialized for the benefit of the universities, for the benefit of the research themselves, and for the benefit of society, because they are solving needs, they are solving challenges that exist today. We're not doing it alone, because we believe that challenges that exist in Nigeria may be existing in other locations as well. That is why Apollo is partnering with various other universities across the globe, with universities in Canada, universities in the United States, universities even in Africa, Strathmore University in Kenya, for instance, the Witwatersrand University in South Africa, University of Cape Town, and various other universities across the globe, so that we can bring cross-functional research teams of professors, of researchers, to work together on a common challenge that is global. And instead of creating one small company in Nigeria, we create a company that solves a global problem and becomes a big, a big company. That is the whole idea of Apollo. Apollo is a Yoruba word that means brain, because we believe that every great thing starts from the brain, every brilliant idea. So we want to aggregate these ideas, and we are also not even limiting to university. We are also creating innovation hubs in rural areas, because we believe that talents are born everywhere, not only in the cities, because a lot of things are going on in Abuja, in Lagos, but the rural areas are neglected. So we created in 2 rural areas, and with the support of companies like Airtel that have provided uninterrupted 4G internet, because internet facility is one of the challenges that people that operate in rural areas have. So we believe that we are on to a great thing, and we believe that in the next few years we'll be producing young people with brilliant ideas that have set up companies that will become global players. We're having professors and lecturers who are worth millions, in dollars, giving the kind of research that they have done, that have been commercialized and have become a product that is selling not only in Nigeria but across the globe.
Well, interesting. I'm looking at the Apollo Innovation Hub spread. If you take this home across Nigeria on a physical presence, I can see that these all are public universities, not private universities, across Nigeria and across the 6 geopolitical zones, from the Barrio University to Ahmadu Bello University, Gombe, in University of Ilorin in Ibadan, and Enugu, and all that. So how did you choose these universities? Why the focus on public universities and not private universities for this particular innovation opportunities hub that you're spreading?
Well, we believe that the owners of private universities are already doing certain things in this regards, while the public universities are neglected. As you very well know, most of the public universities are not properly funded by government, and so it's even difficult for them to even think about something extra like this. I'm not sure of the salary level between private and public universities, but the researchers and the lecturers in the public universities, I believe that they are not as well paid as those in the private universities. So there's no encouragement for those in public universities to really want to put in that extra. And also when you're looking at the numbers, because we want to deal with university with the highest number of students and the highest number of lecturers and researchers, so that we can achieve scale as quickly as possible. But that is not to say that we'll not be dealing with private universities. And even though we are setting up physical hubs in these universities. These are just physical manifestation of our presence. We are also creating virtual communities, virtual innovation communities in various universities, both public, and private. So that, and we are also creating partnership with the Nigerian University Commission, which is the regulator for universities, and also the MBT, National Board for Technical Education, which are the regulators for the polytechnic system in Nigeria. But all these things takes time. So the whole plan is to cover the entire spectrum of the tertiary institution community in Nigeria and use it as as a showcase to further countries in Africa. Just as we are also partnering with other institutions across Africa, so that at the end of the day, Opolo becomes an African-wide institution based in Nigeria but operating and impacting globally.
This is huge and quite big from what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at the board that you put together to drive this massive pan-Nigerian, pan-African initiative, the Opolo initiative. I'm seeing names such as the immediate past CEO of EcoBank Nigeria, who was also an executive director of EcoBank West Africa and regional executive Patrick Akiwoto, and a few other names like Amina Turko Talfa and Dr. Yemi Oyenuga. So this is quite really big. So I go back to that question earlier on the Africa Fintech Network. Who are your partners here? How are you getting this funded? And what is the moving forward on this particular new initiative, different from the Africa Fintech Network? Dr. Aina.
Yes, I thank you very much. We are blessed to have a crop of, directors who are serving on the board of Opolo, and they have been purposely chosen based on their track record, based on what they can provide and the support mechanism that they can give, based on the wonderful things that they have done and their interest in things that are development oriented. But beyond that, we also have a long list of members of the advisory council. I think the number about 21, and they cut across various sectors. Professors, bank CEOs, leaders in the capital markets, our friends and partners in other institutions outside of Nigeria from across the world. Through this 21-member advisory council, we're able to get to know what is going on across the world, what is going on across sectors, and we're able to use this to design our program. We're able to use it to provide support for people that have brilliant ideas and innovation and innovative ideas, for organizations that are also running small businesses but want to scale up. And we're also able to use them also as sources to get the funding, because we're also creating funding mechanism, angel investment fund. We are also creating an innovation fund, which will provide funding for startups and funding for scale up. So we are involved in the A to Z of incubation and acceleration. And the last 2 years that the company has been in existence, we are actually surprised at the growth that we have. And thanks to organizations like the Bank of Industry, who believe in what we are doing and are providing the necessary funding and support to drive it. Not only just for support for the university base, but support for the programs and activities that is driving this. And apart from them, we are operating on what you call a quadruple helix model that involves 4 categories of stakeholders: the private sector, the governments, both state, local government, and federal, the communities that we serve, and the university system. A joint working together of this institution will provide the kind of support that we need. Either though government and universities have been working together and so on and so forth, but we have not really seen the kind of required result. With private sector coming in, research has now been done and focusing on the real world rather than just thinking about theory. And we are very so excited at the interest that all the major stakeholders within the quadruple helix model, what the kind of support that they are giving, including organizations like Tech Fund that we are actually talking to, actually in terms of supporting them in their quest to also ensure that we move from research to innovation and commercialization of those efforts. And by the way, I also serve as a member of the Third Fund Research and Development Standing Committee, which is also looking at this at the national level. So every institution, most of the institutions that we have spoken to are really quite interested in supporting this move, and we are looking forward to a greater future for the young people of this country, for people with brilliant ideas, for the university communities, the students in those communities. Some of the students in the university community that we serve today, after being provided the kind of skill that they require, some of them are working for organizations outside of Nigeria, while they are pursuing their education. Some organizations are approaching us under our talents as a service program to say that we are losing a lot of staff to the Japa syndrome abroad, and they are engaging us now to help them to ramp up the training of some of these students, and we'll be deploying them to those institutions to support them and make sure that they have the required resources to be able to. So it's a win-win for both the young ones that are looking for work, high-paying job, both the jobs in Nigeria and jobs that they can sit down in Nigeria here and be working for organizations outside Nigeria and be making good money. Okay,
just on the final to sum up this conversation, Dr. Aina, I'm a market journalist, so I'm going to ask you to talk about fundraising. Is any of this innovation or whatever coming through to the markets for fundraising or for listing? I could see Nigerian Exchange Group on this list.
Yes, our innovation fund is going to be registered at the Security by the Security and Exchange Commission. Like I mentioned, on our advisory board, we have incredible leaders of the capital market, people like Bola Jomale, who used to be the CEO of Nigeria, of NASD, people like Mary Udu, the former CEO of Security and Exchange Commission, people like Dapo Adekoje, the former president of Shara Institute of Stock Brokers, and so many more who are leaders in the capital market, who are guiding us as to how to ensure that, not only that we're able to raise funding through the capital markets, and that eventually, when any of our, and the stock exchange has what they call the growth board, which is a new category of people that operate in the capital market, new companies that are coming out that can operate through the stock exchange. We hope to provide a pipeline of businesses that can be enlisted both on the growth board and at the scale up. They can also meet the rigorous requirement of the Nigeria Stock Exchange, and by so doing, we are enlarging and developing and boosting the stock market, the stock exchange in Nigeria.
Thank you so much. We appreciate this very drill-down conversation with you tonight. Congratulations once again on the deal with the AFDB group. Thank you so much for the Africa Fintech Network. Thank you so much, Dr. Segun, President of the Africa Fintech Network and founder of Fintech Association of Nigeria. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.